Hey guys, Miss Marcus here, and as you can see, we're back with some Master League in PES 2015. Of course, this is with Southampton, and this is in the first game of the actual proper season for the Premier League, of course. So, of course, we're going up against Chelsea here, away from home at Stamford Bridge with what the hell are they called again? Speech marks. They're basically you're taking the piss because basically it's not Stamford Bridge at all. It's actually the Royal London Stadium. But as you can see here, walking out, all the kits have been edited and whatnot. For some reason, Toby Alderweireld is my captain. I'll probably end up changing that to Morgan Schneiderlin because he's probably the only player who's actually worth being a captain. Anyway, as you can probably hear, it's only me talking. There's no background noise because of the fact there were some issues with me when I was doing this, and it didn't, for whatever reason, want to record the background audio. I know I have to convert the file from an M2TS to an MKV or an MP4, but for whatever reason, Sony Vegas would not work for that. I'll probably be at that for at least the first 4 or 5 episodes because that's where the majority of the stuff is coming from. But as you can see, manager Jose Mourinho, I've edited it more or less to as realistic as I can possibly get it. John Terry, Ramirez, Matic, Oscar, Diego Costa, and whatnot playing in the Chelsea side, which is a very hard Chelsea side. I did quite a lot of man marking before this game started, and of course me playing what could potentially be one of my stronger teams with Jose Font at the back and Jack Cork and Vincent Wanyama and whatnot. But Fraser Forster in goal, of course, having to hopefully keep a clean sheet. Hopefully, as long as I get like a 0-0 would be quite impressive for me, basically. But of course, I already know what the results are, and you do not. So, of course, Chelsea kicked off. They were playing with it was really weird because I think they were playing with quite a dry pitch, and they were playing with quite long grass because the balls didn't really move that quickly along the ground. But as you can see, basically come all the way up to the 45th minute here, as not much had actually happened in the game here. As they get a ball, actually probably had a chance to maybe get away there, but they couldn't actually get away. And 0-0 was at half time. So, of course, Jay Rodriguez there did quite good in the game against Napoli in the first episode of this Master League. But as you see, we've had 2 shots, 0 on target, and Chelsea haven't even had a shot on target yet. So, coming up into the 70th minute here, basically 25 minutes after the restart, and Chelsea passing the ball around at the back here. And eventually I end up actually getting it back here with Jay Rodriguez, getting a shot away after I pushed Gary Cahill off the ball, run about for a bit, get a shot away, and I probably should pop it into the back of the net, but I actually missed the post, which was a bit annoying because, well, I probably deserved the goal there. But into the last minutes of the match here, as you can see in the 85th minute, Eden Hazard running down the left-hand side, absolutely destroying my defence. Jack Cork can't get back, gives the ball to Ramirez. Ramirez gets a shot away. It's a good save from Fraser Forster. But after throwing the ball out really, really casually straight to Willian, gives it to Oscar. Oscar basically does a little bit of skill. Again, Fraser Forster making that save. This time I decided to kick the ball out because I was like, I'm not taking this anymore. Having, of course, with Jay Rodriguez, I brought him on. I think I brought Stephen Davis on and moved Jay Rodriguez up front with Pella coming off onto the bench. But in the last minutes of the match, with 1 minute added on, Oscar here doing a little bit of skill, trying to get past my players, eventually gets it back, gives the ball to Diego Costa, but attempts to give it to Diego Costa. The clearance I do ends up hitting the back of my own player. It doesn't matter because Fraser Forster gets the ball, kicks it away, and the full time whistle goes for a 0-0. So 0-0 against Chelsea isn't too bad considering that in real life they're probably one of the best teams in the Premier League, and in the game they are probably one of the best teams in the Premier League. So with that logic, I was like, well, a 0-0 isn't too bad. It could have been worse. It probably could have been a win for me considering we had 5 shots, 2 on target. Man of match went to Nemanja Matic, which doesn't really surprise me considering that I couldn't get through their midfield. But into the second match of this episode, and it is against Everton away from home, with them having big Samuel Eto'o up front, Roberto Martinez, of course, being R Martinez because couldn't fit Roberto in, and Romelu Lukaku not even being on the bench, which was a bit of a weird thing. For some reason they had Oviedo, Gibson, Atsu, Stones, Osman, McCarthy on the bench. I ended up playing with basically as a realistic team as possible, of course, having got Luke Shaw on loan. I decided to play Luke Shaw at left back, I think, in this game instead of I played Ryan Bertrand. Basically, the way I did it for Luke Shaw and Ryan Bertrand, I swapped in between those two players depending on who was in a better form. So if Bertrand had a orange arrow and Luke Shaw had a red arrow, I play Luke Shaw, even though they're the same rating, essentially. So, also, as you saw at the end, Joel Campbell, who started this game as well, instead of Shane Long. Shane Long is an alright player, but I think Joel Campbell probably has more potential, and of course I have the ability to buy him outright at the end of the season after his loan move. There, of course, is Campbell there, the Costa Rican striker, /winger /midfielder, whatever you really want to call him. But game against Everton kicked off, and Everton, of course, being quite a good side as well themselves, actually being relatively decent, probably hitting into trying to get that top 4 position. And then in the 12th minute of the match here, Eto'o gets through on goal, gets a shot away. It's a relatively good shot, but it doesn't actually bother to even work Fraser Forster. So coming into the last minutes of the first half here, as they're passing the ball but trying to get the ball forward, get a nice little tackle in on Eto'o before he can just turn and play the ball through. And 0-0 at half time. So another 0-0, not scored a goal yet in the Premier League in now 135 minutes. But of course, you're doing that quick maths because of course I'm revising for my university subject. So with that logic being said, in the 71st minute here, Fraser Forster comes out, just doesn't do anything, and Eto'o hits it wide. And basically this game, Everton probably deserved to win this game. I did a lot of tackling in the last minutes of the match, as you can see there. I did a nice tackle on James McCarthy, and for some reason I actually gave a foul, and I don't understand why, with Jose Font going in, and it was a last minute free kick from Leighton Baines in the 92nd minute, and he hits it over, because nearly every single person hits it over in this game. So 0-0 in the second game of the season. Again, no goals scored, now going into 180 minutes, which is really, really, really poor. To be fair though, as you can see, we had 0 shots in the whole game. They completely dominated us, and they probably deserved to win the game. So Gareth Barry got a 7.5 rating there, man of the match as well. So of course that's, again, shows some form of, well, good defending from Everton. So into the last game of this episode, and it's against Leicester City, with Nigel Pearson being their manager. Of course, Leicester City being one of the teams which got newly promoted, with Oloa, I think his name is Oloa, up front with Chris Wood. He had Cambiasso in midfield, who's an absolute beast of a player in this game. It's like rated like 84 or whatever, for a man who's like quite old. And they have Nick Powell as well, which I didn't actually know about. They have Paul Konchesky, of course, the former Liverpool left back, which not a lot of people remember him playing for Liverpool, but he did. So going into this last game, of course, it's our first home game of the season at St Mary's Stadium. Again, Morgan Sterling has been officially reinstated. Has been officially stated as captain. Of course, it's a good thing, because I was messing about with the team a little bit. Of course, Font's quite old now, so I've decided to change. I decided to take him out, put in Gardos at the back. I think his name's Gardos. Luke Shaw also started this game at left midfield, I think. I didn't play him at left back because Ryan Bertrand was there, as you saw. So the game kicked off eventually, but of course wanted to score some goals in this game, considering that it was the third game of the season. Hadn't scored a goal yet. It was probably in the bottom 3. And of course, I show you the table at the end of this episode as usual. But in the 11th minute here, Victor Wanyama Vincent, whatever his name is, Wanyama gets a shot away. It's a nice little save from Kasper Schmeichel. It's basically doing some relatively decent job in the first half here, as I'm trying to get the ball forward here. Eventually, Nathaniel Klein with a cross in. It's quite a good clearance from their defender, and Font comes out here, runs past a couple players, ends up crossing the ball, doesn't even end up crossing the ball, and he ends up losing the ball, and it basically becomes a 2-on-1 situation at the back. Wanyama goes crazy into one, I think it was a Loa, and gets a straight red card. So not really the best sort of way to end the first half, considering that we haven't scored a goal in 3 games, and now I'm down to 10 men. Of course, it's a straight red card. I was 100% fine with it. When I made the challenge, I was like, oh well, I've of course going to expect to get a red card here. So at half time, 0-0 again. We have not scored a goal now in 225 minutes, and we've not conceded one either, which was quite good, considering we've not conceded one, which is what you always want to do, keep those clean sheets. But of course, 0-0 against someone like Leicester isn't very good. We had 3 shots, 1 on target, which isn't actually too bad. But coming into the 71st minute here, Bertrand with a ball into the box. Pella comes out with a big header, tries to get basically I end up scoring a goal, essentially. That's what you get from that. It's a good header. It's a really poor save from Kasper Schmeichel, who just heads it right back to Pella, and Pella just pops in the back of the net. So basically, in the last minutes of the match, we're sort of getting some shots away here, as you can see. And of course here, Joel Campbell still playing. Actually, I think I brought him on. I didn't start him in this match. I think he was a substitute for Shane Long. And in the last minutes of the match, he gets a shot away. It's a relatively decent shot, but it doesn't really matter, because 1-0 was the final score. We won our first game of the season, in our third game of the season, and we will see the table, of course, in a couple minutes. But of course, that's really it. This is, as a Master League goes, I play 3 matches, I upload the videos, and I do some commentary. It's relatively straightforward. So Font got man of the match as well, which is quite good. Gardos coming in for Toby Alderweireld. And of course, as you can see there, Stoke beat Liverpool, which is crazy. And Arsenal beat Burnley, and Man United beat Crystal Palace. And let's see who is top of the table. So, of course, we are near the bottom of the table. We're 11th in the table with 5 points. Stoke are top with 9. Manchester United are second with 9. And that will be that. So if you have enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel for more. And catch you later.